Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Kaylee and this video is just going to be a really quick tutorial on how to make these simple little notebooks. I've made them really small, but you can make them whatever size you want, and I've decided to make these just as a little end of year thank you for being an amazing superstar gift for the children in my class at school that I teach. I just thought it'd be a really personal little present to give them because they're superstars and I think they're all amazing. So I really hope they like these. They're really quick and simple to make, not necessarily if you're making 30 of them, but once I got a production line going, I'm getting through them pretty quick. All you need to begin is just a piece of card, and I cut out a rectangle in the size that I wanted and just folded it in half. So this is going to be the cover of your book. Like I say, you can make it whatever size you like, but I decided to make mine mini ones just because I thought it was cute and it would be faster. So once you've got that, you need to get a piece of fabric to cover your book with, or you could use craft paper. It's absolutely up to you, but I like the way they look and feel with fabric. I just like the texture of it. And you're going to make sure your fabric is just slightly bigger than your piece of cardboard, and then spread a thin layer of glue onto your cardboard book cover. I use Mod Podge, but you can use whatever you like. PVA works really well and is relatively cheap, so highly recommend that. You're going to place that down in your fabric and press it down hard so that it sticks really well, and I always like to turn it over and make sure that I've pressed it down on the other side to get any creases out. You're going to cut out the corners. It's easier to see rather than me to explain what I'm doing here, but you cut out the corners so that you have little tabs you can fold over onto the other side, kind of like when you're in high school and you are backing your books. Does anyone do that these days? I remember when I was at high school, we always used to have to either sticky back plastic or wrapping paper our books to protect them. Anyway, you can see what I've done there, and then you're just going to apply another thin layer of glue on this side and fold those tabs over to secure them down. Make sure you do it nice and tight up to the cardboard to keep it nice and neat. But yeah, it's really simple. It doesn't necessarily matter how neat they are on the inside because you're going to cover that, and any little strands of fabric, just pop them in the middle because we're going to cover all of this up in a minute when we do the inside cover. But you can see there I'm just pressing it down really hard to make it nice and secure. Once you've done that, you're going to choose something to, oh no, you're not, I'm watching this as I'm doing the voiceover. You're going to fold it, just fold it to make sure that the fabric is going to stretch nicely around the cover and it all fits well. I'm really happy with this one. So then I choose my inside cover. Here we go. I chose another plant themed one because I thought it complemented the cover nicely, and you just want to make sure it's a little bit smaller than the cover of your book. So again, you just want a thin layer of glue and spread it all over. Make sure you get right up to the edges so that it's going to seal really nicely. Doesn't necessarily, if you're going to do the sewing stage, doesn't necessarily matter if it's super secure, but if you're not, you need to make sure you go right to the edges and really stick those down on the inside cover. So I just line that up to try and get it nice and straight. I never measure anything. I always just kind of eyeball it. That's just how I work, and it's how I find things turn out the best for me. Once you've stuck that on, you're going to fold it over to make sure that the cardboard or the paper is going to fold nicely when you open and shut your cover, and then you're going to set that to one side to dry. So that is basically the cover of your notebook, and if you wanted to leave it there you could, but I just like to go around the edge with a little zigzag stitch. I just think it looks really cute. It helps to secure the inside cover to the outside, and yeah, I just think it looks cute really. So this is me doing that here. I did it when the glue was still a little bit wet and there were a few mishaps, but we got there in the end. I like to kind of make sure the zigzags are right on the edge of the inside cover, as you will see in a minute, and it just helps to keep it nice and secure. And I think it looks really cute. You'll have to let me know what you think, but I think it's cute. Okay, the next thing I did was add some eyelets. This is so that we can put a closure on the book, and I've got a really cheap eyelet punch from eBay, I think it was. It was probably about a £5, and it honestly doesn't cut that well. I have to really squeeze it to get the hole and then snip off the edges, but it works absolutely fine. Then you pop your little eyelet through, squeeze that on with the eyelet punch again, and I just think that these look really sweet. They just add a little extra something, and it makes your enclosure, your closure on your book more secure. So I really like that. You could put your ribbon on underneath the inside cover instead, but that's not how I chose to do it. So this is what we went for. Again, I eyeballed it and miraculously the holes lined up perfectly. That's never happened before, but hey, there's a first time for everything. So there you go. Once I'd done that, it was time to make pages, and because my notebooks are so small, I think I took 3 sheets of A4 paper, and I've got a paper cutter which has got like the measuring lines on it, which is really, really handy, and I just cut my pages down to size so they were the same size as that inside cover, because you're going to fold these over to make your pages. So however wide you cut your paper, it needs to be like double the width of the pages, of how wide you want the pages to be. You know what I mean? It's going to be easier to see rather than me explaining it. So then you're going to fold those pieces of paper over, just try and match the corners up as neatly as you can, and this is going to take a bit of time because you just, you want to make sure you do this nice and neatly. So I'm going to speed this up for you now. So I think I had 4 pages out of each sheet of A4, and I had 3 sheets, so there's 12 pieces of paper here, which is going to give me 24 pages, or 48 if it's like front and back. I think, if I've done the maths right. You'll have to let me know if that needs correcting. Then what you want to do is pile your sheets of paper up on top of each other so it starts to form a book. You can see here, you just put in them on top of each other with the fold in the middle, and this is going to be your signature of pages. I like to tap them down on the table just to make sure they are nice and straight and all lined up nicely, and then I'm going to clip it just to keep them nice and secure so they don't wriggle around. So you can see I'm just clipping it here, and we're ready to bind. I have this little hole poking tool. I'm sure there's a proper name for it, but I haven't got a clue, and I like to use that, but you can use whatever you want. You're going to poke 3 holes in the spine of your cover, and you're going to have 1 in the middle, 1 on the top end, and 1 on the bottom, and this is where you're going to thread through to bind your pages into your book. In the past, before I had my little pokey doodad that I've got in this video, I used to use all sorts. I'd use like pins or needles, or I had a pair of nail scissors that were just used for crafts. I like to use that. So once you've got your holes, 1 at the top, 1 in the middle, 1 at the bottom, you're going to line your pages up with where you want them to sit. You could make a template and measure this, but like I said earlier, I am not really a measurer. So there's the top of my head. I just tend to eyeball it, and I line up the holes with I line up the paper with the holes that I did on the cover and just poke through so that the pages will sit nicely where I want them to. So you do the hole in the middle, the hole at the top, the hole at the bottom, in the same position as on your outside cover. As you can see here, I feel like I'm describing this really badly, but I'm hoping that the video kind of shows you what I mean. So you want to go right through all of those pages. And this is why the clip's really handy, because it's going to keep them together so they don't wriggle around, and they'll stay nice and neat. So you can see 1, 2, 3 holes, just like on the outside cover. Here I've got some waxed thread, but you could use anything you want. You could use cotton, or you could use string, you could use twine. That's what I used when I first started making journals. And you want a length that's about 3 times the size of your book, just so you've got plenty to work with when you're tying off later. Put that on a needle and then go out the middle hole of the pages, and then again out through the middle hole of the book. So you're going to go all the way through, but then leave yourself a little tail at the end, because this is going to be what you're going to use to tie it off afterwards. Then you're going to go in the top hole or the bottom. I mean, it doesn't really matter which way around you do this, but I go back in the top hole and pull that all the way through. And once you've done that, you're going to go back out the middle. So that's just going to secure the top half of those pages. So you can see here I went out the middle in the top, and I'm now going back out the middle. It can be a little bit fiddly, but honestly it's so easy once you get the hang of it. These are really, really quick to do. And then back in through the bottom hole. So once you've attached those together, that's it. Basically, you've made a book. You just need to tie that off now, so you can get rid of the needle, pull everything as tight as you can. That's what I find makes a big difference. So the tighter I attach my pages in, I feel like the better it feels and the better it looks, the sturdier it is in general. You can see there the way that it looks from the outside, and I actually really like the exposed binding. I think it looks cute. And then you're just going to double knot it or triple knot it if you want to in the middle. So I like to try and get the knot right there in the centre and then hold it down so that it stays as tight as it can and double knot it so it's nice and secure. Once you've done that, you can then trim off the ends and you've basically got yourself a book. Obviously the pages will sit more, like the left pages will sit more on the left and the right pages will, like, it will always open so that that binding bit is in the middle. Oh my goodness, what am I even talking about? You know what I mean? Like, it will naturally gape a little bit, but that's fine. That's why we're going to do the tie closure. Oh my goodness, I can't speak. So I'm just sort of flattening that down a little bit, and I decided to use twine for the enclosure on this one. Enclosure, why do I keep saying that? The closure. So you're just going to thread that through from the outside to the inside of the cover through that eyelet, and then if you kind of pull at the back cover of the book, you can slot it through between the cover and the pages, as you see here. And that's generally pretty easy to do, especially if you've got like a flat ribbon. You can just pull it through from the other side. And like I say, it's exposed on this notebook, but you could put that put this on before you put the inside cover on, and then it would be hidden, and that would be lovely too. I just chose to do it like this for this one because then if they want to change the ribbons out, they can. If they want to put something different in, they can. And I just thought that would be really nice. So there you go. Now that your twine or your ribbon is through, you can literally just tie it up in a nice bow and you've got yourself a little notebook with a tie closure. I think these are really sweet. I really hope the children like them. I don't know, I feel I get a little bit more paranoid with every one I make, that I don't know if they'll like them or not, but I think they're really cute. I think my children would appreciate these. I just cut off the excess bit of twine there so it was a nice length, and I just think it's a really sweet little gift to give to the children to show them how much I care about them, and maybe they could keep their memories from the summer in them. Like I say, I've done loads of different designs. You could do them different sizes. I'd love to know if you make your own, what design you went for. It's like, yeah, it's entirely up to you. I hope you've enjoyed this video, even though I'm a bit waffly and can't get my words out. Bye!